Okay, I guess we're live. What's up, everybody? Oh, this is so much fun. It's so good to be with everybody today. And we've got a cool hour planned for you guys of answering questions and picking Laura Hatch's awesome brain and how she helps teams and doctors across the country build awesome front office processes and team and answer phones, drive patients, all of that good stuff. We're going to be talking a lot about how we as a marketing agency and helping dentists with their Google marketing, driving patients with SEO and Google ads, there's a key component, especially as we work with our dental clients, where we can drive leads all day long, but if your front office doesn't have the right SOPs in place and the right questions, the right scripts, the right how they engage with patients that are excited to meet with you, then there's a bottleneck there. So I'm gonna turn the time over to Laura. We've got a bunch of questions that are common that dentists have that I'm just gonna ask you, Laura, and then you can give us a response. But I guess why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and
Sure. I want to see if we want to address the elephant in the room. Do you normally have beard and hat? Tell me what you are, who you are right there.
This is how I look every day. This is my get up, my top hat. Yeah, we were pulling this together just for fun. This is my Halloween costume this year, and I lost my bow tie. It's somewhere. I couldn't find it, but.
And in my defense, I had to go pull something fast. When you showed up like that for our interview, I pulled my, I got this from Revenue Well at one of the recent meetings. So it's my go-to Halloween hat.
That is a sweet hat.
Awesome. Well, so I'm super excited to be on here. You and I have been coordinating this, I think, for about a year. We finally made it work.
Right.
So I'm excited to be here. My name is Laura Hatch, if you don't know already, and I'm the owner and founder of Front Office Rocks. What Front Office Rocks is, and you kind of already have explained it a little bit, is we do front office training. My focus is helping the front office team members handle everything that we do in the front desk, in the front office area. So my story started, I got into dentistry in 2002. My ex-husband is the dentist, and he needed an office manager, and I was easily available and accessible, and said, why don't you run the office? And that's kind of how I got into dentistry. Awesome. My background is in training and marketing and management and human resources, business. So I didn't know anything about dentistry. I knew about business. I knew about, customer service, hiring, firing, management, and all of that, but had to really kind of learn the dental part of it. So I spent a lot of time, watching all the big speakers, going to conferences, reading articles, trying to really figure it out, because there wasn't good training for front office at that time. So I kind of figured it out. We opened a scratch practice, or a brand new practice with no patients, on the East Coast in Baltimore, and then sold our practice, and in 2007 moved to San Diego, California, and opened a second scratch practice. So I've had the opportunity to open two practices with no patients, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, one where the economy was relatively good, and one where the economy was awful, one where there's a lot less competition, one where there's a ton of competition. So I've had the experience with both practices. And I started about 5 years ago realizing that what was still missing in our industry is focus on the front office. Mm-hmm. There's training for the assistants, the hygienists, the dentists, but there's really not a lot of training for front office. So I started Front Office Rocks by basically working all day long, keeping track of all the things that we do in the front, answering phones, scheduling patients, asking for payment, all of the things we do. And then after work, I would film videos, training videos, to help explain why the things we do are important and how to do them better in the front. I started it kind of as a hobby, sort of on the side, thought, well, we'll see if anybody else, minimally I could train new employees with it myself, but then it took off, and I think I've found a great niche that's missing in our industry, which is really training new employees well and continual training in the front office. I named it Front Office Rocks because I think front office team members are rock stars. I think they need to understand they're rock stars, and our doctors need to understand it too. So my focus is completely in helping the front office. I've been in the trenches. I know what we go through. I want to be a resource to help not only answer phones and get new patients, but everything that we do in the front office. So it's an online training website. Kind of like you, I'm all about training and helping doctors learn and team members learn. So it's online subscription-based website. So that's kind of my story and why I'm here today with Front Office Rocks.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're doing so many cool things, and your methods, your strategy works, and that's what's so cool. So tell us also, you've got like an event coming up, right? You've got.
I do. We do live events. So originally it's all just online, and then a lot of our clients are saying they wanted to come to an event, a live event. So we have one coming up in Dallas on December 7th. So that's our live event, last one for this year, and we're almost sold out. So if anybody's interested in meeting me in Dallas, just go to our website and go to live events. And then next year we're hosting 2, West Coast and East Coast. So in March we'll have one in San Diego, where I live, not a bad place to come visit in the spring. And then in the fall, we're gonna have one in the Baltimore, DC area. So, and we're hoping to have pretty big events for that. And we're gonna focus on the entire team, all the importance of the things that I train on, which is customer service experience and helping the patients, understand how amazing we are and that they really need to get their dentistry done in our office. So yeah, so I'm super excited about my event.
That's so cool. That's cool. I love everything you're doing, and yeah, that's awesome. So I know you guys are all excited about kind of the post title that I gave this and some of what I alluded to, what we're getting to. Let's jump into the training, the questions. And as you guys have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments, and we'll address those kind of at the end. We've got some kind of standard questions that a lot of doctors and a lot of teams are asking, and Laura's got awesome advice for us. So we're going to go through those questions for a while here, and then at the end, the last few minutes here, we'll address questions and get advice for you guys out there that need help. So, all right, Laura. So we hear all the time that dentists, they want more patients. They need new patients. What do the phones have to do with getting new patients?
I think that the phone is the most important piece of technology in the dental office. And there's probably dentists listening saying, no, it's my CAD cam or it's my intraoral camera or whatever your technology is. Mm-hmm. But honestly, if we're not answering the phones well, we're not getting a lot of patients in to do Cerex or to do, Invisalign or whatever your great technology is. So we really need to respect the phones. I want to do a shirts that say #respect the phone, because we don't respect the phone enough in the dental office. I mean, it's Friday right now, and I bet we could call the majority of dental offices and their phones would not be answered because we're closed, right? But yet our patients are calling on Fridays. They need appointments, but yet we don't answer the phones. So the physical phone needs to be respected. We need to make sure that our phones are being answered. I say minimally between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. Nowadays, there's services out there. You could have your phones answered at night. You can have them answered in the weekends. There's no excuse to not have your phone answered. We're missing potential new patients. If you're spending money on marketing or on Google AdWords or on whatever, and the phone's not getting answered, don't spend the money. Like you're wasting that. So the phone itself needs to be respected. Another big thing that we do in the dental office that we need to realize is that most of our calls come in between 11 and 2. You can now look at metrics and see that most of the calls come in between 11 and 2, but that's when we send the team to lunch and we either put it on voicemail or we have the newest person answering the phones or maybe the dental assistant up there taking messages, when those are the most important times to have the best people answering the phones. So making sure that your phones are handled well between the hours of 11 and 2 is vital, because that's when our patients are calling to schedule appointments. Now, the next thing, besides the actual phone, it's the people answering the phones. We need to make sure that our team members are trained. We tend to not put enough training on answering the phones, how to handle the questions patients are calling in with, understanding the purpose of answering those questions and the phone. A lot of dental offices will hire somebody new and we'll say, hey, let's try them out on the phones. So we take a brand new person who's nervous, who doesn't know anything about our office. We don't know anything really about them, and we're going to try them out on the phone. So again, you're spending money to make that phone ring, yet now we're trying somebody out new on the phones. It's kind of like and I don't know if you know this, but for those of us in the dental office in the front, we know that we hear all the time from patients saying, well, they sent their kid to us first because they wanted to try us out. They wanted to see if we were any good.
Right.
What if we weren't? Like, what? No wonder we have dental phobia in the United States. So do not let anybody answer the phones that's not trained. Have your new employees, doing other things, recare calls, reactivation calls, whatever, until they get trained, and then invest in training on the phones. Just like you invest in training for other things you do in the office, your team members need to know how to handle those calls if you want a high level of conversion, because you're spending the money to make the phone ring. But if we're not good at converting them, then we're just answering a lot of questions and not scheduling a lot of patients.
Yeah, that's so true. I like how you put the strong emphasis on answering. I can't tell you how many times we'll start working with a dentist and we have to work through some of these kinks, and we're driving leads and they go to an unanswered phone, or they submit a web form on their web page and the front office isn't responding immediately to those leads.
Yeah.
And in today's fast-paced world where timing and everything is critical, somebody that's searching on Google is interested right now. They have a pain, they have a need, they're trying to find a dentist because it's top of mind, so they're searching, they're ready. And if you guys aren't there, ready to go with the right ways of answering the phone, responding immediately, they're just going to go to the next dentist, and you miss that opportunity.
And I agree with that 100%. Even beyond that, we have to think about what we do for a living. We put drills and needles in people's mouths, and they're going to pay us thousands of dollars for something nobody's ever going to see. So they might be motivated now. Maybe it's 10 at night. Maybe it's lunchtime. Their tooth is hurting. They're trying to find a dentist. We want to get them while they're motivated, because either, like you said, they're going to hang up or move on to the next dentist, or they're just going to move on and they're going to forget about it. And they're not going to call back or try to follow up until the next time their tooth hurts. We have to get them when they're motivated. And if we're not answering phones or handling, like you said, requests on the internet, then we're missing that. And people, they're going to find every reason not to come. We already know that. We don't want to be the reason that they're not showing up for their appointments or they're not making appointments just because we're not answering the phones.
Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, you mentioned kind of those fears that they have about needles and these. Yeah. A lot of these treatments are not comfortable, right? So it's like, okay. On that note, people call with that fear. They've also got questions about like pricing and insurance, right? They're worried. They don't even know who the dentist is yet. They're shopping. They're trying to figure out what to expect. How do you suggest your team handles those types of questions?
So, we were talking about motivation. Motivation is what gets the patient to call, whether it's they've seen your ad, they've got a wedding they're going to, it's a cosmetic issue, they've got pain, they're motivated. That's what's going to get them to pick up the phone or reach out to your office. However, they're still going to ask usually one of two questions. And it's usually, how much is something, or do you take my insurance? Or they might ask, do you have weekend or evening hours? The reason is, even if they're motivated, even if they're in pain, even if they've got a wedding coming up, they're still usually going to go to the two things that they know the best, which is their insurance book and their pocketbook. So they're always going to probably start with, not always, but many times, the first question out of their mouth is, do you take my insurance, or do you have weekend hours? Because that's their pocketbook and their insurance book talking. Like you said, they don't even know the dentist yet. What they should be asking is, how good is your dentist? How much CE have they done? Is there any lawsuits against your dentist? But they don't know to ask that. Now, we could just get frustrated and say, all patients are insurance driven. Everybody's worried about money. Or we could understand that's just all they know to ask. I mean, our patients don't have the same dental knowledge that we have. They are going to start with one of those questions. So if they start with one of those questions and I answer no to that question, so for example, do you take my insurance? If I say no, what does that patient want to do? They want to hang up. I mean, they're expecting to hear yes, they know. So they want to, no, we don't take your insurance. Oh, okay. Or no, we don't have weekend hours. Oh, okay. And they may be nice and talk to you a minute or two, but they're either not going to schedule or they're going to schedule and not show up. Because we didn't actually build rapport with them. We said, no, we don't take your insurance. And then they did whatever they could do to get off the phone with us. We need to instead understand that that's all the patient knows to ask. And we need to say something positive or yes to the question so that we can take control of the phone call. So when someone...
Uh-oh. Get out there.
Did you say uh-oh?
Yeah, you're... Okay, you're back.
Okay. I disappeared, right? I should change that. If somebody calls my office and says, do you take my insurance? I want to say something like, yes, we work with your insurance. Yes, we work with a lot of PPOs. We something positive.
Right.
The reason I want to do that is I want to take control of the call. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to handle the insurance question, right? If you're not in network and you need to handle that question with them, I'm saying that we can do. I'm just saying let's not do it first. Let's say something positive and then take control of the call. Find out who they are, how they hear about us, how, why are they calling? Build some rapport with them. Then you can handle the insurance question. But we have to understand that if we say no, we never get that opportunity to build that rapport with that patient, to find out why they're calling.
Right.
So it's yes or something positive. Now, on the example of Saturday hours, let's say your office is not open on Saturdays. So if you say, no, I'm sorry, we're not open on Saturdays, the patient hangs up because they're going to call somebody who is. But let's say, yes, in certain circumstances, we are. Let me ask you a few questions and I'll explain. Who are you? Why are you calling? Tell me why you're looking for a Saturday. Now, let's say this patient calling in she's going to a wedding, her daughter's wedding, and she needs 8 veneers across the front. She just came into a bunch of money and she's going to pay cash, but she can only come in on a Saturday. Do you think your doctor's going to go to work on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so in certain circumstances, we do. Let me ask you a few questions. Now, we're not going to go in and clean her 10 kids' teeth on Saturday, but I want to know why she's asking. And if we don't take control of the call, then we never get the opportunity to really find out what the patient's asking and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So what I teach is really just, taking whatever their question is, acknowledging their question with something positive, and then you take control of the call, find out about the patient, then handle their question. You're going to convert more new patients, understanding that they don't know to ask anything else. And if we don't handle that effectively and well, we're not going to be good at converting them to a new patient in the practice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I was going to say, does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
Makes perfect sense. And I think there's also a lot of need, that all of what you said there goes back to kind of like sales psychology and how you work with people and help them to be comfortable and help them to find opportunity to continue the transaction, right?
Right. Yep.
So like a lot of times people get hung up on like scheduling conflicts, and you mentioned price, and there's different ways you handle that. What can you give us some specific examples about price and scheduling? Like how do you?
Yeah, for sure. So we need to understand at our job, a lot of what I teach and what is important when we're answering the phones is understanding what our purpose is as the employee answering the phone. We need to understand that our purpose is to do the best we possibly can to convert that person to a new patient in our practice. Right. So when a patient calls and is asking whatever the question is, we need to handle that question, but we need to then take control of the call, and that's really what we're missing. So, for example, when somebody's calling for price, again, they don't know what else to ask. They don't know what we know. So we don't want to give out the price if possible, because we're probably not the cheapest dentist in town. And a patient shouldn't be picking the cheapest dentist in town. I mean, I wouldn't go to the cheapest dentist in town, and we should, but I'm not going to get into that with the patient on the phone. What I want to do is I want to get that patient to come in. Right. So when a patient calls and says, how much is something, I need to understand that. I understand that they're asking because they don't know to ask anything else. And my purpose is to make them a new patient in the practice. So with the price question, I'm going to say something like, we really don't give out prices over the phone. It just depends. Every dentist is different, but we offer free second opinions and consultations. I can schedule an appointment and get you in and get them to schedule. So with this patient, right, then they're okay, fine. I'll schedule an appointment. Let me come in for that. But you might have the next patient who goes, no, I really need to know how much a crown is. Like, I know I need a crown. I really need to know. And I'm going to say again, it really just depends. Every dentist is different. One dentist might put a filling in a tooth where another one does a core and crown, but we offer free second opinions and consultations. Let's get you in. We can see what you need and our doctor can go over it with you. Okay, so that patient's going to go, okay, yeah, I'll come in. But then you've got the patient who's a little bit more difficult. Now they're really like, just give me a price. I don't care. Just tell me a range. I'm not coming in until you tell me, don't waste my time. Again, I really can't tell you over the phone. I can give you a range. It's anywhere between $200 and $2,000, right? There's your range, buddy. It's a filling to a core and crown. Yeah. But we offer free, because you're explaining to them, you really can't diagnose over the phone. Now, right? Now, there is that pain in the behind patient who's going to say, listen, you've wasted my time. I've asked you 3 times. How much is your crown? Until you tell me I'm not coming in, you know what? Give them your fee then. because that patient was probably going to be the pain in the behind patient anyway. You explained to them 3 different ways, reasons you can't give out the fee. Go ahead and give them the fee. They're probably not going to schedule. Your doctor can thank you for it because that would have been the person who wanted to negotiate and get a discount anyway, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so we need to just understand what our purpose is. Our purpose is you can't sell them over the phone. We don't know the patient. They don't know us. We don't know what they need. So our intention with every phone call is to get the patient to schedule and get them to show up. That's the 2 things. We can get a patient to schedule many times, but then we have cancellations and no-shows. We want to make sure that we're building rapport with our patients, handling their questions, getting them in while they're motivated, and we want to get them to show up. And the 2 ways to get them to show up is schedule them as soon as possible and build rapport with them. Somebody's more likely to show up when they feel they have a connection with you. If you hurry on the phone call, don't build that connection, hang up and get them scheduled, there's a higher chance that they're not going to show up because they didn't feel that from you. So we need to slow down on the phones, really know what our purpose is, and then get those patients to schedule and show up.
Awesome. Like that. So yeah, that's a good segue into the next topic. So you're big on training the team, getting everybody aware of what the processes are, revisiting what those processes are, right? Can you talk more about why that is important and what that has to do with getting new patients?
Sure. And actually, that's why I love working with you, because you're into training too. If you can't help them specifically, let's train the offices. So, everybody knows this already. I'm not, changing any philosophy or whatever, but in dental school, they didn't teach anything about running the front office and converting patients and marketing and answering phones and practice management software. They didn't teach any of that in dental school. And those of us in the front didn't go to dental office manager school. Like we're all in this business, in this organization, doing the best we can based off of past experiences, knowledge, maybe things we brought from other offices, intuition, whatever. But what's missing is training in my mind. And there's 2 types of training. It's new hire training and then regular training. So new hire training, for those that are listening, think about the first day you worked in a dental office. It is literally, I know my first day was like, here are the phones, here's the insurances, here's the codes that we bill, go, right? And there's drill noises in the back and patients, people saying, I don't like being here. And oh my gosh, right? The first day, the first week is insane. Well, the most turnover happens when most people know they're going to stay somewhere long-term or not within the first week. So if you think about your first week in a dental office and how we lack training and how we don't really train well, we wonder why we have such a turnover issue. And I've heard recently that millennials, hi Libby, that millennials decide in the first day whether or not they're going to stay somewhere long-term. So we really need to slow down and train new employees well. The next thing then is investing in our current employees. We need regular training. The best investment you can make is in your team. The highest part of overhead is payroll. The biggest investment is in training your team, hiring your team. And if you train your team well and you treat them well, they're going to treat your patients well. And a lot of times we just assume people know what to say in this scenario or how to handle a certain situation, but we haven't given them the training to know how we want it done. So I think it's super important that dentists and team members realize that training is something we should be doing regularly. Even if, in the beginning, think about like, I'm going to rid the world of cavities and gum disease. I'm going to be this amazing receptionist or this amazing office manager. And now we wake up on Monday morning and we're like, oh, I got to go to work because we get beat up. We get in old habits. We have patients coming in and say they don't want to be there. So we need a way to always invigorate our team, to grow our team, to make sure everybody's on the same page. If you want more new patients, your team needs to treat the patients well, because patients don't know whether you're a good dentist or not. They don't know whether or not you do good margins. So they know how they feel. And if the environment in your office is draining and gossipy and everyone's doing the same old thing and nobody's happy being there, your patients are probably not going to accept a lot of dentistry and they're not going to want to be there. Versus if you're continually investing in your team and training and working on your customer service skills, that's how patients judge us. And they're more willing to do dentistry and pay for dentistry in an environment that they like. And
Right.
so we need to understand that. It's the patient experience that we really need to be making sure that we're doing if we want to get patients to arrive, show up, and get their dentistry done.
So much relies on that first impression, right? Like when they open the door to the practice, what is this place like? And
Yeah.
who's the first person they see? It's always the front office person.
Yeah. We're the first and last people that any patient see. And actually, you'll like this because I'm on this new thing now where I'm talking a lot about first impressions start before you even answer the phone or when they walk in. First impressions start on your website and they start with your online presence.
That's right.
You know, what other people are saying about you. You know, they might see your, Google ad pop up, but many times they might go check your reviews out next.
Right.
And if your reviews aren't good, or if they're not relevant or they're not recent, people are going to assume you're not a good dentist, whether you are or not. So
Right.
your impressions start many times well before they even pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because with all the different channels of internet marketing, you've got Facebook, Google, your website, if you're doing email marketing and retargeting, right, where you're following people around with specific offers, there's messaging and there's pre-framing that's going on with your advertising. There's experiences they're having on your website, other reviews like you mentioned. And so they're coming, especially with like an offer for like an Invisalign offer or implants or something. They're coming with some kind of preconceived idea of what this is going to be like to talk to you.
Yep.
And what offer is there, right?
Exactly. And think about your reviews. So for me, it's full cycle or full circle. So your reviews, that's impression people have in your practice. So if your reviews say things like, go to this dentist, they only do what the insurance covers, or go to this dentist, they give good discounts, or go to this dentist, because even though that's a review, that is starting with the impression for next patients to come into your practice going, oh, I'm going to go there because he only does what the insurance covers,
right?
Or gives good discounts or whatever. Versus if your patients come in and they get an amazing experience, they get all their dentistry done, they're stable and healthy, they go out and put a review about you that says, this dentist was amazing, he helped me change my smile, I'm no longer in pain, I totally trust this dentist. Now your next patient's coming in already mentally prepared for potentially a larger case or doing some things that they haven't done in the past because they haven't maybe trusted a dentist in the past. So it's full circle, and the experience every time a patient comes in matters because that's really the only way they know to judge your practice, how they feel. So it's not even just about new patient experience. It's about every single time a patient walks through your front door, giving them an amazing experience because that's really how they feel. They're going to go out and talk about your practice.
Right. No, I like that a lot. So we kind of talked a little bit about training. And you mentioned, prepping your team and incentivizing your team. Can you talk a little bit? I'm sure you've talked to dentists, in all kinds of different ideas and creative ways to incentivize teams. What are some of the cool ways you've seen that have worked well to help your front office, perform better, get more reviews, those kinds of things? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, again, it's training. Making sure that everybody understands why we're doing the things we're doing. So for dentists listening, if you come back and let's say you listen to this webinar, on Monday you walk in, you go, I want everybody talking about reviews. That's it. We got to do reviews. And your team's thinking, oh my gosh, on top of the 46 other things I have to do when a patient's here, now I got to talk about reviews. Right. So first of all, it can't just be like, do this one more thing. They need to understand why. We need to work as a team of how we're going to do it. We need to get training. Some of your team members are not good. I had a dental assistant who's very introverted. She's really uncomfortable asking patients to give reviews. So I had to work with her on verbal skills and get her comfortable with it because the best time to ask for a review or a recommendation or referral is when a patient gives you a compliment. And many times that happens to anyone on the team. Your dental assistant's in the back and they say, my gosh, your doctor's amazing. I love your dentist. That's a great time to ask for a review or referral. So helping your team understand why and training them and helping them get comfortable with the verbal skills is huge. Now, the next thing is to make it fun. We spend more time with our dental families than we do with our own families. So if we just continue to add things to our team members, do this now, do that now, it gets just daunting and you just can't wait for 5 o'clock to come. So I suggest that you do things that are fun. And your team, your team wants to grow your practice. Your team wants to help you, but they want to have fun at it. So, maybe it doesn't have to always be about big incentives or big, maybe it's I buy pizza on Friday for everybody if we can get 2 reviews online this week. Or if I hear everybody asking for review, I'll buy everybody Starbucks coffee or just something fun so that it's something interesting to talk about. And it's something fun for your team. I think the other thing then too is to have things around the office that remind your team and remind your patients that you're looking for reviews, you're looking for referrals, you want people talking about you, because our patients aren't thinking about it and your team we get in the busyness of the day. So we want to have things that remind us. And then lastly, I say you mix it up. You don't do the same, don't talk about reviews only for the entire year. Maybe this month it's about reviews. Maybe next month it's about Facebook check-ins. Like, let's get patients to check in on Facebook. Right. Maybe the month after it's a referral contest. Mix it up, make it fun, because if it becomes rote and the same thing month after month, it's not going to be exciting. So find some ways to get creative with your team. And it, like, again, your team wants to support you. If you support them, give them some fun games to play. They're going to go out and talk to your patients about it.
Yeah, love that. Awesome. So we talked a lot about new patients. That's great. We want to grow our practices, and getting new patients is definitely part of that. But we also need to get case acceptance. We need to get the dentistry done. Production needs to happen in order to grow the team, to grow our marketing efforts, to do all these things, right? So how does the front office play, what role do they play in case acceptance?
Sure. I just recently started working with Dental Intel, and I've learned Dental Intel is amazing. So if you get a practice snapshot, because it's amazing to look at how many practices are getting a lot of new patients in the front door, and they're all focused on the new patients, and it's great about the new patients, but they're losing the same or more patients out of the back door. So we're focused on, oh yay, we have 20 new patients this month, but we just had 30 go inactive. They haven't been in for 18 months or longer. I feel the reason that is because we don't have our systems in place and we're not giving our patients amazing experience. Now, how that plays into case acceptance is patients are more likely to stay in the practice, do the dentistry, again, when they feel that their experience there is great, when they feel like they can trust your team, when the systems are good, the communication is good, when we're all using the same verbal skills. Again, circle back around, it's about training. It's about making sure that everybody on your team understands what our purpose is. When the front office team member is answering the phone and that patient's trying to cancel their appointment, we need to understand how to handle that call. We need to understand that patients are always going to probably try to cancel because we stick drills and needles in their mouth. They pay us thousands of dollars and nobody's ever going to see the work. Right. They're going to try to cancel. Anybody who says that we can eliminate cancellations and no-shows is full of it, because we can't. I mean, we're dentists, but we can get better at handling the calls. We can get better at handling scheduling. I mean, if you've got patients that you're putting in the schedule and they're not showing up for dentistry, you're not doing the right process of case acceptance. Your team's just putting them in the schedule. You're not handling the money. They're not really sold, and they're in the schedule. Then they don't show up and we're like, I knew that patient wasn't going to show up. Again, go back to training. It's systems, and everybody on your team needs to be trained and understand that we are here to help our patients keep their teeth for life. Right. It's not about production. It's not about collections. It's not about new patients. Do we need to track that and have those completely? We need that. We're a business. However, at the end of the day, it's about us helping our patients keep their teeth for life. And if your team understands that and they know that's their purpose, and then we give them the training systems and the ways to do it, they're going to be much more successful at it. If we just focus on new patients and cross our fingers that patients are going to do the dentistry, you're probably not going to get a lot of case acceptance. And that's where I was saying with Dental Intel, a lot of offices are finding that their case acceptance is way lower than they thought it was because they haven't invested in the training and the systems needed.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's awareness, right? They don't even realize that there's a lot of unscheduled treatment that was recommended, right?
Yeah. And honestly, what I was going to say about that is think about the process. So the dentist tells the patient what they need. And the patient looks at the dentist and goes, oh yeah, doc, that sounds great. I want to do that. So the doctor leaves thinking he just had 100% case acceptance.
Right.
But until we put the treatment plan in front of them and they see the insurance isn't covering it all and they look at the money, that's when the real case acceptance discussion starts.
Objections and limiting beliefs that are holding people back from taking action.
Exactly. And so I can see why dentists think, oh, we have such a great case acceptance, because they're telling the patients, the patients are telling the doctor yes, but then when they're coming to us, they're not scheduling, or they're scheduling and then not showing up. That's where we need to really work on that.
So you mentioned like getting, working on that training to help them with that process. Can you give us like some specific examples of what to say? Like somebody just found out they've got a cavity, or maybe they were recommended a treatment that's going to cost, several thousands of dollars. Yep. And the next step is they come to the front office, they got to book the appointment.
Yeah.
You can tell if somebody's going to be like, well, I don't really want to do this, and I don't really want to schedule that appointment. How do you handle those types of things and people that are just kind of skirting around the commitment date?
So here's I'm going to back it up, and I'm just going to give some quick tips. I have a lot more training on this with Front Office Rocks, but what we do right now is we present the patient what they need. Patient goes like this to the doctor. Then the doctor leaves. Then we walk them up front to the front office. They're standing up. They're 5 steps away from the front door. We then present the treatment plan. We show them what the money is. They go, oh, my insurance isn't going to cover it all? And we go, no, insurance is, well, hold on a minute. And then they maybe pick and choose something off the treatment plan, or they say, just schedule me and I'll figure it out later. We don't really talk about the money. We schedule them and they leave, or they have to go home and think about it. What I suggest is that we don't do it at the front desk if possible. Almost every office has an area, or should have an area, where you can present treatment to a patient. Consultation room is, I say, take everyone in the consultation room. Yeah. And then understand, until the patient sees the dollar amount, they're not really considering it. It all sounds good. So let's say I'm at the store and I pick this up, whatever, my phone, right? And I go, oh, that's really cool. When do I start actually considering if I'm going to buy it? When I turn it over and see how much it is, right? And I go, oh, geez, $1,000? Do I need a new phone? I'm not even sure. My phone's fine. Maybe I should get another store has it cheaper. Like, we all do that. That's the exact same thing our patients are doing. When we say, you need a crown, they go, yeah. And then we say, okay, it's $1,000. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's when we're really in the buying process with the patients. The next thing is to understand that patients are going to go through, it's called a buying cycle, and I train on this. There's a cycle that they go through, kind of like I just did with the phone. Do I really need it? Can I find it less expensive somewhere else? Can I hold off and do it later? Patients are doing that in their head when we present the money, but we're not sticking with them long enough. We're presenting the money. They're saying something like, I need to think about it, and we let them go and we put a watch on it, right? When really they're in the buying process, we need to help them through that. So we need to have a space, a time, and a trained team member who understands when the patient's giving us some sort of a reason, a pushback, a consideration, they're actually considering it. They're actually thinking about it. And if we stick with them long enough, we'll have a higher chance of case acceptance versus, okay, well, go home and talk to your husband and let us know, which is what we're doing right now. So we really need to understand, we're asking our patients to pay thousands of dollars. They're leaving our offices thinking about it, and then they're going and buying a big screen TV at Costco that night.
Exactly.
Right? Or we put drills and needles in their mouths. That's a big screen TV. I'm going to pick a big screen TV all day long, right?
That's right. Any day. But we're so, as humans, we're such emotional creatures. Everything is an emotional decision, and we can justify anything. Yeah. If we have the right help, we can make the correct decision to take this treatment and get the care because it's to our best benefit.
Right.
So if your practice has a lot of unscheduled treatment, I would definitely recommend taking Laura Hatch's course and following her stuff, because that'll help you a lot. Okay, so we've covered a lot of information here, and we've got a bunch of people on.
I'm excited to see everybody on, and I see questions coming across. I haven't looked at them, but this is exciting.
So one more thing that I wanted to hit on, and then I guess for the last, so let's take a couple minutes to answer this one, and then for the rest of the time, we'll open up to questions for you guys. So be thinking of questions. If you have a question like for your practice, what you need help on, put that in the comments and we'll get it answered. So there's a lot of competition, right? Dentistry there's a new dentist popping up everywhere. Some corners, there's like dentists like competing over that one spot in buildings even, right? There's like
Yeah,
multiple dentists in apartment complexes. Um, so how do we compete with that? What are your suggestions, like as it pertains to front office or even just general guidance for a dentist? How do you?
sure. Well, okay, so I have lots of thoughts on this. First of all, competition in general. We talk about competition, and when I first talk about competition, I think about it's not just the other dentists you're competing with. It's kind of like we just talked about. You're competing with the big screen TV, you're competing with the new iPhone, you're competing with the vacation they want to take, and they're weighing all of that when you're presenting treatment. So we need to understand that competition isn't just the dentist down the street. It's everything else the patient has in their life that they could spend this money on, and they're deciding, where they want to invest. When it comes to competition in your area, I mean, I was just talking with somebody recently about this. Back in the day, you could open a dental office and put a sign out that says dentist, and you did okay. You were, you know enough about how to run a business, you're doing fine. And across the street, another dentist could put a sign up that says dentist, and you both are stumbling along just fine. Now those two dentists are there and the corporate moves across the street. And I know we're all talking about corporate dentistry and DSOs and all of these things. Now it's game on because they have training, money, marketing, business processes, knowledge, hiring, right? Do we agree with everything that they do? I'm not getting into that, but you now have to step it up because where maybe you weren't marketing before, that corporate office is marketing to your patient. Yeah. Where you weren't training your front office team members before, that corporate office puts their front office team members through training, so verbal skills and case acceptance. And so we need to step it up more in that case with competition. Now, in Southern California, I hear all the time, well, the dentist down the street doesn't pay, charge co-pays. The dentist down the street gives away discounts. You're talking about your advertisements. I mean, in Southern California right now, you could get your teeth cleaned for $29 plus daycare, plus they'll wash your car, plus they'll whiten your teeth. I mean, like, there's so much competition.
Price.
And everyone's trying to go for the cheapest price. Mm-hmm. My suggestion is if you are expecting patients to do dentistry in your office, if you want them to accept the treatment, you can't control what happens outside your four walls. You can't do anything about the dentist down the street not charging co-pays. You can't do anything about the corporate office, but you can control what happens within your four walls. Mm-hmm. You can control getting your systems in place. You can control getting training to your team. You can control the environment. And if you want patients to accept dentistry, focus on what you have control over. Really focus on the internal systems of your practice and really giving that patient an amazing experience. You won't have to worry about competition if you do that. People are willing to spend more on something they feel that's worth it. Right. And consumers will pay more. And, our practice in Southern California was fee for service. We're out of network for insurances. And across the street, there's 3 dentists who are in network for their insurance, but they come to our practice. We have to make sure that we're always stepping it up to give them the value of what they're paying because they're coming to our practice. So don't worry about competition. Worry about what happens within your 4 walls.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how you said that because, I mean, even as a solo practitioner, you can compete with the bigger companies from a patient experience standpoint. And let's talk about Google for a minute. Let me give some advice. So there's common strategies that you guys can do that will beat the big corporate chains and their budgets. If you guys are approaching your market the right way and the content you put out on your website the right way, you have the ability to be much more engaging and unique because you are the dentist and it's your practice experience, it's your team. Versus these bigger DSO companies, a lot of their websites, it's not as hands-on. Like, you don't get the experience of like, okay, which doctor am I going to be meeting when I go there, right? Their team environment, the practice environment doesn't necessarily come through on these bigger, multi-location practices. So if you're the solo practitioner, you can definitely differentiate yourself by putting out content on your website that's unique, that conveys who you are, and addresses all of these different questions that patients have, and does it in a way that gets them to connect with you, which will ultimately help what production they accept and whether or not they show up for their appointment, right? So
Yeah. And I
All
think too, we're at this great time right now. I mean, with the groups, like with you, the training that you offer, like if you, maybe you're not in a spot to be able to actually afford getting SEO help, but you can learn with Front Office Rocks. I mean, it's $149 a month. You can train your team. There's no excuse. With groups like Delivering Wow and you know, Trapped in the Op and Nifty Thrifty and internet and webinars like this, there's no excuse to not be able to understand what you should be doing in the practice, learn, have your team learn. I mean, if you have a patient that cancels, put everybody in front of this webinar and have them watch this. You know, there's no excuses anymore. We have access to everything we need to be able to compete. So just, yeah, like you said, you know, get out there, make yourself different, stand out, and you won't have to worry about any competition.
I'm going to start showing, but we've got a lot of people commenting in here.
Do we want to explain for those who've joined us why we are dressed this way?
Right. Happy Halloween, everybody.
I know, right? Happy Halloween.
Just having a good fun Friday here. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. So let's turn it over to questions. Love Lee Eager. She's part of our program. Google Made Easy is amazing. If you guys need help with Google, we have a program where we help dentists do their own Google marketing and do their own SEO. And we pull back the curtain on our agency, and we share that inside of our program.
I think that's great. And what do they get for that? They get access to videos and training?
Right. So they get access to step-by-step modules where we highlight on a very basic level how to do your own SEO, how to do your own Google ads, which is it's helping a lot of dentists and loving the Abe Lincoln costume. Yeah. So in the program, we also give them support, and there's a private Facebook group where we help answer questions. We basically give the strategy to the dentists and their teams, maybe somebody on your front office team, to do what we do for those clients that are paying us every month. So for the solo practitioner who cannot afford a quality agency that will deliver good results, this program is awesome for you guys. So.
And one thing I'm going to mention, I don't know if you've talked about this or if you've seen this, but for Front Office Rocks, you know, we have access. There's over 180 videos.
Wow.
And they get it for $149 a month. There's plenty of information out there. But one of the things we've noticed is you have to let the person who's learning be able to watch the videos themselves. So I'm thinking about for you, as the dentist, if they were to take your course, they should take your course. They should watch the video. Of course, they should learn. But if they're not the one doing it, let's say they have somebody in the front office doing it, give them access to the training and let them learn it from their perspective. I had office managers who say, well, I've done your training, Laura. It's amazing, but I can't get my team to do what you teach them. And I said, well, have you let them watch the videos? Oh, no, I watch them all.
Right.
So the whole point is is to let everybody, we should be able to watch this from our own perspective, learn in our own way. And sometimes we have to watch it multiple times because, like, I know I'm learning a ton about Google. And if I were to go back and watch something I learned a year ago, I would know a lot more at this point. It would make more sense. So really, training is huge. I mean, I know I've beaten the dead horse here.
Plus, you as the doctor shouldn't be doing everything. Yes. I mean, that's your team is there as a supporting role. And if you shouldn't be doing your Google marketing. You should have something on your team.
Yeah, but that again is circling back around to your team and talking about what is our why. Why are we here? What are we trying to accomplish? Your team, dentists, your teams want to support you. Your teams want to help you grow. You know, you just need to talk with them about why do we want to do this? Why do we want to, what are we trying to get out there? What's our message? And then let them run. They love you. Talk to them, train them, and they'll be able to do a great job. Thanks. I love that you love Front Office Rocks in your weekly training. That's awesome. This is exciting.
Cool. I love Facebook is so cool. It's such a cool platform to help us engage with everyone and help everyone. We got a bunch of other ones in here. I'm just going to, so this is Jeff. Brett dresses like this every day in the office.
Nice.
Okay. So, we do have a question. So Lysandra, she says, how do we get to owner practicing dentists to understand the value in each patient? Blows me away how I have to force her to please be nice.
Yes. So we have to get our dentists. So what I would suggest, Lysandra, is find some of the leaders in our industry that are dentists who connect with other dentists about the importance of this. Meaning, for example, Anissa Holmes. If you don't know Anissa Holmes, I'm sure you do, but if you Delivering Wow, she she embodies this as a dentist and how important the patients are, giving back to the community and the value of a new patient. So right now, there's so much access to watch videos like this that I would say, you know, many times we talk to the dentist just like the dentist talks to us, and it's kind of like, oh, yeah. But when they watch another dentist, maybe on an interview or a webinar, and they go, oh, that makes a lot of sense, you know, they can connect with the dentist. So I would say if you're not getting through to your dentist, try to find some people who they can connect with, and have maybe find a video that talks about this, or a webinar or an interview. Get her to a training if possible. You know, delivering wow is coming up. My seminar's coming up. We all talk about the same message, that patients are huge, and taking care of them, not just the first appointment, but every single important appointment is super important.
Yeah, and as like, I know, at least for my team, I love it when team members step up and help me with things they see that I'm struggling with. You know, I don't necessarily have to come out and say it. So like, if you see your dentist having a hard time with interacting with patients or something, there might be some underlying cause there, maybe some stress with managing the practice or something.
Right.
Try to look into some of those cues and see if you can alleviate some of the pressure, maybe and that might be one of the reasons. I don't know.
And I just recently did a training on this for Front Office Rocks. A lot of times our dentists, and I think you're 100% right there, our dentists are stressed about more than just the patients. I mean, They're stressed about their overhead, they're stressed about the team, there's a lot to be stressed about as a dentist. And it's hard, you know, you walk out of the office and this lab case didn't fit, and this is going, now you got a patient you got to be nice to, and it can be hard. So, but the next thing that I think is, as team members, we need to support our dentist. And one of the problems that we do is we dump problems on our dentist. We're like, here's another issue. Here's another problem. You know, they just walked out of a procedure maybe that didn't go well. We catch them in the hallway and we dump another problem on them. That's not helping them throughout the day.
Right.
So my suggestion is that when you do need to talk to your doctor, you find a certain time that works best for the doctor, not in the middle of the day, not when they're doing procedures. Maybe schedule a meeting once a week or after work. And then don't just bring them problems, bring them options and solutions also. So talk to them about whatever the issue is, and then give 2 or 3 suggestions. They're going to be more likely to want to work with you and grow and learn if they feel you're looking out for their best interest too and helping them. Just like we didn't go to dental school front office training, our dentists didn't go to training for this either. They're learning how to be business owners. They're learning how to run a business, just like we're learning how to be office managers and running the practice. So the more we can work together, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, awesome. Love that. I'm just looking through here. I don't know if there's any other questions. There was just that one. So if you guys have questions about front office, anything like that, we're going to wrap it up here a little bit. So if you have any questions, ask them now, and we'll get to them. But I guess to kind of give you guys some action to take here. So Laura's got her conference coming up here in Dallas. Make sure you go and look into that. She's got a website on that. What website should they go to for that?
Just go to frontofficerocks.com. There you can see some sample videos on the homepage. You could sign up if you want. There's also a live event. And then one other thing I'd like to put out there, just that might help answer that question too, for Lysandra, was I have a book that I would love. If anybody's interested, you can get it on my site or you can go to Amazon. And it's called Step Away from the Drill. And the whole idea is for the dentist to understand what happens in the front office. You know, like I said, dentists weren't trained in how to run the front office. They were trained in how to be a dentist. Right. And many times they don't know what should be happening up front. They don't know what they should be hearing and looking for. They don't know what to communicate with the team about. And so many times doctors try to fix their practice with production. Just put in more production. Just put in more. We'll do better if we produce more. And that's not always the case. So if anybody's interested, it's called Step Away from the Drill, and it's for the team to read, but it's focused on the dentist and just helping them get in communication and understanding what should be happening in the front.
Love it. That's super, super helpful. And yeah, if you guys also want tips on Google, if you guys want to learn more about what I'm doing and how we're helping dentists, we do a weekly training where we cover some really cool tactics that you can deploy to get more patients from Google. And we also go into how we got more results for Glenn Vo, how we got him to the top of Google. We talk about Dr. Anissa Holmes and how we've almost quadrupled her traffic now since working with her in February. that's for her delivering wow community and all of that. And dentists across the country, we're helping you guys with Google Marketing. So if you guys need help with that, sign up for the webinar. It's marketing32.com/register. You can go there and sign up for that. Or you can reach out to us at marketing32.com and learn more about working with us there. We do have a couple.
What's Marketing 32 stand for?
There's 32 teeth.
Oh, look at that. Okay, good.
Yeah. There's, it's funny. There's a lot of, I thought for sure that'd be like a cool thing for the brand. And a lot of dentists get it, but there's probably about half and half. Some are like, what's 32? And it's just, but anyway, that's, so a little bit about our story. We've been a Google marketing agency for almost 5 years now. But in the last year, we decided to focus in and help dentists. We saw a big need there, and we loved the dental clients that we had. And so we're helping you guys now. We are solely dedicated to helping dentists. Okay, so how do you sell your dentist on using RevenueWell or some sort of confirmation system? He just looks at it like another monthly expense that isn't needed.
That's a good, you know what, and it's funny, so RevenueWell, if you're listening and don't know what it is, RevenueWell is a company that I love, and it's an appointment reminder service. They also do treatment plan follow-ups, they do post-op follow-ups, birthday emails, all of that communication stuff. And I was shocked, and there's other companies out there that are great too. I just happen to use RevenueWell in my practice. I was shocked to find out just about a year ago, and I don't know if the statistics are the same, but there's still about 30% of the dentists in the United States do not use some sort of a communication system to patients. And the reason is, what we have found is most of the time that the dentists think of it as an expense, and they don't understand the importance of communication the way the patients want it. So many dentists will say, but I want personalized communication. I want phone calls made to the patients. I want us to reach out to them. But if our dentist, and have your dentist watch this, Lori, most of the time when we're calling patients, they're not answering the phones. We're not personal. We're getting voicemails, or we're getting an email that doesn't get answered. So when we talk about personalized communication, what I think that is personalized to how the patient wants it, not personalized to how we want to put it out there. And every patient is different. If you call my voicemail, I'm not giving my cell phone number right now, but if you were to call my voicemail message says, if you know me, you know I don't like to talk on the phone, send me a text message. Because I don't like talking on the phone. So I'll confirm an appointment all day long via text message. If you call my mom, you have to call her. She likes to talk on the phone, so she wants you to give her a personalized call. So we want to make sure that we are personalizing our communication to what works best for the patient. Now, your dentist needs to understand the purpose behind that. We're trying to get the patient to confirm appointments, to schedule for their treatment, to follow up with us on statements, bills, whatever. And if we're not getting through to that patient in the way they want to be communicated to, then they're not responding back to us. So if the dentist understands the purpose behind why we have it, they might be more likely to pay for the expense. Now, I'll tell you, when we were with a different company and switched to RevenueWell, turned on RevenueWell, and 3 weeks after we turned on RevenueWell, our dentist said, by the way, when are we switching to RevenueWell? And it already had happened. It was such an easy transition, but it made such a difference in our practice because patients, we get emails now at 11, 12 o'clock at night. They want to pay their balance. They want to schedule their appointment. They text us back. Our birthday emails are a video that we're dancing and singing happy birthday. We get more new patients from that video because people show it to other people because it's funny. So if your dentist understands the purpose behind why we're doing it, hopefully they're much more likely to pay for the expense. So I would say maybe get a demo if you haven't already, and just really help your dentist understand why it's important to communicate to the patients in the way they want it. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. So much value here, you guys. We've covered a lot in the last hour. So if you're tuning in now, go back and start from the beginning. There's a lot of tips that we cover on how your front office can help you guys get new patients, how they can field phone calls, handle objections, insurance questions, how to incentivize your front office team, training and how to do that well. So many good
share this video too, because you're not the only dentist who needs to know this. So if you like this, share it and get it out to other people too. Yeah.
Share it with your colleagues and your friends that are in dentistry. Let's do the best we can to help people. Okay, I'm just double checking, see if we don't have any other comments here.
And if you want to find out why we're dressed up like this, then you have to start at the beginning.
That's right. You gotta go to the beginning.
Exactly.
Go to the beginning to find out why we're dressed up like this. Okay. Love her book. I think we're good. I think we've addressed everyone's questions. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. And again, if you need more help with this, visit frontofficerocks.com to learn more about Laura Hatch and her program. And if you want more help getting more new patients from Google, go to marketing32.com/register to learn more about, we got a training there that we give you guys a bunch of value there. So thank you again, Laura. This was so much fun, and hope you have an awesome Halloween and have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Talk later.
All right. Bye.
I think we're done.